Clint Eastwood turns 94 today, but is still outpacing the world, even through his garage. Behind those doors lies a stunning collection of classic cars, some so good that he went on to purchase them after driving them on movie sets. And it's not all vintage. There's even a surprising modern beast in the lineup that no one expected. Stay till the end. It might just shock you. Number 10. 1932. Ford Roadster. Clint Eastwood wanted a Ford Roadster hot rod since he was a teenager. But back then, he was just a lifeguard and golf caddy, broke, and watching others race past in California's hot rod scene. Years later, after making it big in Hollywood, Eastwood finally bought one. The 1932 Ford Roadster is no ordinary classic. It's the holy grail of hot rods, built for speed and style, a legend in car culture. This car defined the hot rod movement in California when Eastwood was growing up. Even today, a well-built Roadster can blow past modern cars, hitting 0 to 60 miles per hour in under 5 seconds, faster than many brand new sports cars on the road. For Eastwood, getting one wasn't just ticking off a childhood wish, it was owning the same beast that had outrun everything since his lifeguard days. But if you think this Roadster is fast, then let me tell you that Clint's next car made even Ferrari owners nervous. Number 9, 1976. Ferrari 365 GT4 Berlinetta Boxer and 1966 Ferrari 275 GTB. That would be Clint Eastwood's Ferrari 365 GT4 Berlinetta Boxer. In 1977, Eastwood acquired the 365 GT4 Berlinetta Boxer, notable for being Ferrari's first mid-engine 12-cylinder road car, and even Ferrari owners today still respect it. Dissatisfied with the original roof design, he had it removed in 1978, converting the car into a unique open-top version. He enjoyed this customized Ferrari until selling it in 1985. Eastwood also got his hand on the 1966 Ferrari 275 GTB, which entered his collection under intriguing circumstances. To persuade him to star in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, Italian producer Dino De Laurentiis offered Eastwood this model as an incentive. I mean, just imagine. Originally painted in gunmetal gray, Eastwood later had it refinished in a rich, light metallic green by customizer George Barris. This 275 GTB, designed by Pininfarina and built by Scaglietti, features a sleek aerodynamic body with a long nose and short rear, powered by a 3.3-liter V12 engine that delivers an exhilarating driving experience. Number 8, 1955. Cadillac Eldorado Series 62 Convertible. Clint Eastwood's favorite car is the 1955 Cadillac Eldorado Series 62 Convertible. He bought it just 2 years after marrying Maggie Johnson, making it one of his earliest prized possessions. Back then, this car was a serious status symbol, with a 270 horsepower V8 engine, sleek tail fins, and a price tag of $6,286, which was of course a lot for the time. After all, Eastwood has always been about pushing limits. Remember the time when he did his own mountain climbing stunts for the Eiger sanction? Well, Eastwood's love for the Eldorado runs deep. Maybe it's because Cadillac was the dream car of the 50s, or maybe it's because it marked the early years of his Hollywood rise. Decades later, in pink Cadillac, he drove a 1959 Cadillac DeVille. Coincidence? Probably not. That movie wasn't a hit, but the car definitely stole the show. Number 7. Austin Healey. 100M. Eastwood bought an Austin Healey 100M the same year he got his big break with Rawhide in 1958. Do you know why it has 100 in its name? Well, that's because it could hit 100 miles per hour in the 50s when most cars struggled to hit 70. This one was leaving them behind. The Austin Healey 100 even debuted at the 1952 Motor Show, then hit Le Mans 24 hours a year later. This was a rich man's toy in the 50s and 60s. Steve McQueen had one, Clint had one. And these weren't guys buying cars just to park them, they drove them. Eastwood was seen with his 100M when he was just starting out in Hollywood. You'd expect a struggling actor to be in a cheap sedan, not a British sports car built for speed. But Clint always did things his way. Today, the Austin Healey 100M is a collector's dream. Prices have shot up, easily crossing $200,000, and it's still turning heads. Number 6. Jaguar XK150 Roadster. Did you know Clint Eastwood's 1960 Jaguar XK150 Roadster wasn't just a personal favorite? but also co-starred in his directorial debut, Play Misty for Me. After his Austin Healey, Eastwood upgraded to the Jaguar XK150, a British roadster built between 1957 and 1961. With only 9,385 ever made, this was the last of Jaguar's legendary XK lineup. Eastwood's model boasted a 3.8-liter engine, delivering 220 horsepower, making it a beast on the road. But here's the cool part. Eastwood didn't just drive this rare machine in real life. He was so obsessed with it that he gave it screen time in Play Misty for Me. For Jaguar fans, the XK150 holds a special place in history, coming just before the game-changing E-Type. Despite its short production run, it remains one of the most sought-after British sports cars, and Eastwood made sure the world saw just how special it was. Number 5. 1966. Morris Mini Countryman, Clint Eastwood. Also had a thing for precision-packed European racers. That's why he got himself a 1966 Morris Mini Countryman Cooper S, a car that mixed rally-winning engineering with the practicality of a tiny station wagon. This Mini had the same racing DNA that dominated the Monte Carlo Rally in 1966, making it one of only 6 ever built. Steve McQueen owned 2, but Clint had one too. "I have got a Morris Mini Countryman," he admitted. "It's kind of an interesting little car. It's a cool car because there aren't many like it." And he made sure his was even more special, ditching the standard Old English white for a custom British racing green. This wasn't just a cute little wagon. Underneath, it had all the Mini Cooper S racing upgrades: tight suspension, a punchy engine, and sharp handling. It was quick, rare, and different from everything else in Clint's garage. Number 4. GMC Typhoon. Back in 2016, Clint Eastwood sat across from Jimmy Fallon, who asked him what car he drives. Fallon guessed it could be a truck, but Clint, in his signature cool style, cut him off. "I drive a GMC Typhoon. It's out of production now. It's actually a turbo V6. It's fast." Yeah, you heard that right. Clint Eastwood, one of the most badass actors of all time, drives a factory-modified, high-performance SUV from the 90s. The GMC Typhoon was a beast, a 4.3-liter turbocharged V6, launching from 0 to 60 in just 5.3 seconds. That's quicker than a Ferrari 348 from the same era. But what makes this choice even cooler is that only 4,697 of these were ever made, making it rarer, just like Clint himself. Many people also love Typhoon's brother, which is a pickup version called the Cyclone that Jeremy Clarkson tested in an episode of Ye Olde Top Gear. Number 3. 1937 Lincoln K-Series Convertible. Remember the car Clint Eastwood drove while dying of tuberculosis on screen? The 1937 Lincoln K-Series Convertible, a 6.8-liter V12-powered beast, wasn't just a movie prop. Eastwood loved driving it so much during filming that he finished filming, coughed up the cash, and parked a near-identical one in his garage. Why? Because when he pressed that accelerator, it surged forward like nothing else from its time. Even Lincoln ads back then flexed on the competition, calling it light, swift, and boasting about smoother shifting and more flexible springs. In the 30s, that was Rolls-Royce level talk, but this Lincoln proved it on the road. With that massive V12 under the hood, it had more power than most cars of the era, easily hitting speeds over 90 miles per hour. While other classics of the time chugged along, this one flew past them like Eastwood dodging a second take. Yeah, fun fact, Clint hates reshoots. Matt Damon once asked him for another take, and Clint shot back, "Why? So you can waste everybody's time?" Eastwood moves fast, and so does his Lincoln. Number 2. Gran Torino Sport. Clint Eastwood owns a car so legendary, it became the title of one of his most iconic films, the 1972 Gran Torino Sport. And this is the exact car from his 2008 movie Gran Torino, where Eastwood played a no-nonsense, tough-as-nails character who guarded this muscle machine like his life depended on it. That love wasn't just acting. When the cameras stopped rolling, Eastwood made sure this beast came home with him. Before filming, his production company tracked it down on eBay through a classic car dealer. Warner Bros. Bought it, fixed it up, and gave it screen time. But once Eastwood got behind the wheel, it was game over. He had to have it. After filming Wrapped, he bought it straight from the studio. The Gran Torino Sport packed up to 248 horsepower from its 351 Cleveland V8. Back in its prime, this thing could hit 60 miles per hour in just 7.7 seconds. Muscle cars were fading by the late 70s, but this one stood tall. Number 1. 1977 Pontiac Trans Am. Back in 2016, Clint Eastwood sat across from Jimmy Fallon, who asked him what car he drives. Fallon guessed it could be a truck, but Clint, in his signature cool style, cut him off. "I drive a..." The 1977 Pontiac Special Edition Trans Am is the meanest in his garage. It's the same black and gold muscle icon from Smokey and the Bandit, but this one belonged to Eastwood. It packs a 6.6-liter V8 pushing 300 horsepower that goes from 0 to 60 in under 7 seconds. Eastwood's history with Trans Ams runs deeper too. In Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, 1974, he drove a white 1973 Trans Am 455, and that car is rumored to still be with him. Maybe that's what hooked him, or maybe it was backing his friend Burt Reynolds. But after all this, the 1977 SE Trans Am, with the Firebird decal on the hood, T-tops off, and engine growling, ended up in his collection. Fiat 500e. Just to prove Clint Eastwood is as modern as they come, he's been spotted cruising around LA in a Fiat 500e, which is a tiny electric car that's the complete opposite of his usual muscle machines. But here's the thing, Eastwood drives what he wants, and this little electric ride packs more punch than you'd expect. The 500e's electric motor delivers 111 horsepower, and it zips from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 8.4 seconds. It's compact, perfect for slipping through LA traffic, and loaded with tech like a touchscreen infotainment system, digital display, the works. Sure, the backseat's barely big enough for more than a grocery bag, but Eastwood's not hauling a crew. While other Hollywood stars are spending millions on flashy supercars, Eastwood got his 500e for around $34,000. I think now it would only be fair to label Clint Eastwood as a gearhead. Which of Clint Eastwood's legendary cars impressed you the most? Tell us in the comments. And hey, this was just a peek into the garages of Hollywood's biggest icons. We've got more insane celebrity car collections coming up, so hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss what's next.